G'day and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a DIY video on changing some coil springs. So I'm going to throw these in the rear of my 2018 Prado 150. So this tutorial should cover most live axle four-wheel drives. And yeah, let's get into it. So I bring the vehicle in. First thing I'm going to do is loosen the rear wheel nuts, just so when I get it off the ground I can crack it. So then we're going to jack it up and we're going to put some axle stands underneath the chassis rails, not the diff. So the reason you do this is so the chassis is supported and then you can get articulation with your rear diff housing. So that will let you flex it out, pull out them springs, throw the new ones in, off you go. Now, because the handbrake's obviously connected to the rear and I'm about to lift it off the ground and I'm going to put it on stands and be wiggling stuff about, I want this thing to be pretty stable, so I'm going to throw the center diff lock in, because this is a full-time four-wheel drive. So lock the center diff, same as putting it into high 4 or something like that on a conventional transfer case. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then that should hold the car a bit more stable. Let's crack these open, see what we're dealing with. Woo. So I've just looked up what I've been sent. These are 300 to 500 kilo load springs. Hey mate. So yeah, the whole argument of putting these bad boys in was to lower the rear a bit and put some softer springs in, because the 500 kilo or the 300 kilo load springs in there were too heavy. So I'm not sure why I've been sent these, but whatever, I'll just throw them in. Here we are, I just got this under the center of the diff. Gonna jack it up, get the stands under the chassis, and then yeah, rip these wheels off. There's a million different types of these, but I'm gonna give these ones a rest. I'm gonna use the super cheap ones today because they just go that little bit higher. I need that bit of extra height, so I'm gonna run these. Well, at full height, it's only, the wheels are only just off the ground, so there we are. Car's supported on the stands. There's no jack underneath it, so it's solid. First thing I'm going to do is unbolt the sway bar, probably just there, and then the rear shocks, just the bottom bolt on the rear shocks. Pop them out of the way. That'll just give it a lot more articulation. And then we can put the jack under one side and lift it. It'll probably lift off the stands a little bit. You've got to be careful, you've got to watch it. But yeah, flex it up. I'll rip them springs out. They were pretty tight to get in, so I may have to compress them a little bit. Now, if you're having any trouble getting this mount off, just take a bit of weight with the jack on the diff housing here, and then you should be able to just bar it off. There we go. It's off. Sort of just pull that out of the way a little bit. Right, I've got both side sway bars disconnected and the rear shocks disconnected both sides. So now, if I put the jack under here, I'm going to jack that up as far as I can. Just keep an eye on the shocks and that, make sure nothing gets jammed up. Just jack it up, watch the stands, and it will flex as hard as it can. And then I'm going to try and take that spring out. Right, so if you have standard springs in, you'll probably be able to get these out, but these are 3-inch springs, a bit tricky to get out. So I'm going to have to rig something up, and I'll show you. You should use a proper spring compressor or some sort of setup, but I'm going to rig something up now to just get them out. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. Now, I'm not going to say that come out easy, but it's if you don't have a spring compressor, I guess that's what you can do. So yeah, instantly you can see standard, whatever these are, and 3-inch 300 kilo Cal off-road springs. So yeah, now depending what size springs you're putting back in, will determine how easy they are to get back in. But yeah, line up where it's been. Onto your new spring. That's a bump stop. And then just lift him up. There's actually a locator. See the bottom of the spring there? There's a locator in here usually. Depends how your springs are set up. So that's how these are. Just lift him up in there. And because these are smaller, they practically fall in. So there you go. So here, just raising the center of the diff. Just enough to reconnect the shocks. Slide them shocks on and then deal with the sway bars. But I'm going to Loctite everything. I already have before, but I'll do it again. And a bit of anti-seize sometimes, because on them heim joints, if there's just metal to metal and you're going through salt water, and you know, you don't do it all the time, but sometimes you have to. So it makes it a lot easier getting them off. So yeah, this is the anti-seize that I use. Just going to coat it onto this bloody stub here. So this bottom bolt here, the shock mount, just going to put some trusty thread locker on it because I don't want it coming off. And I'll check that. So I've clicked those bottom bolts off for the shock mount. The spec I was able to find with the torque wrench was 120 Newton meters, so that's what I've done them up to with a bit of Loctite. They should be fine.